Hey, it's Sam, and I'm talking today about the Sun and Venus in Pisces, how that impacts all 12 of the zodiac signs. You want to know this, so check it out. Okay, so I'm here today talking about the Sun and Venus in Pisces. As you can see, I'm recording this on Monday, March 22nd, and we have the we have those two planets joined there right now in the sky. They've actually been there for about a week. Been pretty busy lately, so I haven't had a chance to do the update. But I did want to talk today about how Sun and Venus in Pisces behave in general. Right? It's these two planets that are in some ways not necessarily friendly with each other, right? But they both have a certain resonance in the sign of Pisces. And so we'll talk about that in general, but then I'll also talk about how each of the 12 signs would experience a transit of Sun Venus in Pisces. Like if you're Leo, that's your first and 10th and third house rulers in the 8th house, right? So it winds up being an 8th house cycle and transit. If you're Gemini, they're in the 10th house, right? And Venus rules your 5th house of creativity, Sun, and impacting your career. So again, I'm going to talk about all three, this transit as it influences all 12 of the zodiac signs, which of course includes yours. I did also just want to let people know, if you haven't yet, I do have this class here on 2021. It's a free class that I taught, free 2021 Vedic Astrology class, Finding Light in the Darkness. And we're actually, as you see, the 10 important shifts that you must know to really get the most out of this year. And you see, we're actually right here with this exalted Venus. We've already talked about this so far, but then all these other shifts left to go. So again, you can get that if you haven't gotten it yet. Many people have, but there's a lot of new people coming to my channel all the time. They might not have seen that offering. And so I'm going to just talk about Sun Venus in Pisces and how each of the 12 signs would experience that. So the sun is the indicator of light, vision, that pure awareness within that is connected to something higher than just our life on earth. It's what's called the Supreme Self, or the Param Atman. That Param Atman, or Supreme Self, is very important. Let me check something real quick. Okay, so I just changed the microphone, and so anyway, but this Supreme Self is how we're trying to understand ourselves, beyond just the ego and beyond just our life on earth. The sun is the transcendent soul that is even before we start to differentiate and have a mind and have a body and all that. It's what's called Purusha, which is the Atman, or the Supreme Self, as well. And so wherever the sun goes, it's trying to burn off the impurities of that and illuminate that. So when the sun is in Pisces, it's literally trying to purify our sort of imagination about God. Like, we have all these imaginations about who we are on this highest level, but a lot of it is just fantasy, escapism, bypassing. We do a lot of that in Pisces. Everyone thinks they're sort of spiritual and all this, but we're all just we're all very emotional and attached and things like that. And the sun comes to illuminate and burn off all of the confusion around a certain life lesson. So when he's in Pisces, like he is now, he's trying to burn off all of the illusion around, literally what is spirituality, what is transcendent consciousness. and all of that, all those things that we think we already understand, the sun is going to make that real. Like, oh, do you really know this, or are you just kind of confused about it? He's going to shine the light there, right? And Venus is about wanting to enjoy life, wanting to experience happiness, beauty, pleasure with others. It brings us into relationships with others, brings us into other, kinds of, sensual experiences. And so, we often associate those things with other people, right? With our romantic partners or others that we want to enjoy, and also sensual experiences. But Venus is really the ultimate, is ultimately also a certain energy where we want to elevate our desires and quest for beauty and happiness into something that's transcendent, into something that is more than just our, sensual experience. And so there's, we can get into possessiveness and other things to our detriment when Venus is, in a lower form. So when Venus is in Pisces, it's trying to elevate that expression of beauty, and so that we're not just stuck in this sensual world. When the sun and Venus are both there, we have this awareness of, both that illuminated and sort of, lighted, powerful and illuminated area of life is in Pisces. So we're really illuminating that transcendent quality. And at the same time, though, Venus is bringing us into a sublime experience, even sort of sensually and other things with those same experiences. So, by the way, as soon as I started this, there's a little truck. They're emptying a dumpster outside. So if you hear something, it'll pass. It started right when I started. It only happens a couple times a day, but it seems to happen right when I start a video. Anyway, so that's what it is. So there's no reason to have 50 comments about that you can hear a noise outside. So anyway, Sun Venus in Pisces brings these two energies, and again, they're very sort of different in a lot of ways, because again, the sun is about our individual power radiating on a very high level that aligns us with duties and responsibilities and a big vision of our self and even our soul and our life beyond this world, beyond this lifetime, beyond this body. So it's sort of majestic. And Venus is very sensual in the moment, like you can enjoy, ice cream or a cake or some sensual experience. That's Venus. You enjoy interacting with other people. That's Venus. You find beauty in those things. And you find beauty in nature and things that are sublime through the senses, again, in a larger way. But also there's the bliss of the soul, literally, that's not of this earth. And that's, in fact, why Venus is exalted in Pisces, because we're supposed to take that sensual experience to something beyond just this earth, right? So Venus becomes, difficult, and in its debilitated sign in Virgo, where we become too wrapped up in all the details of this world. So these two planets, when they join in Pisces, are going to bring this sort of quality, and Sun will actually empower the planet that it's joined. So any planet that's joined the Sun also really gives a lot of power to that planet, and also in the sense of purifying it and purifying the energy of that. So again, Sun, Mercury, and Venus are, Mercury and Venus are joined the Sun a lot, because they never move that far from the Sun. So you see Mercury is still here in Aquarius, but Venus and the sun are right on top of each other. In fact, within 1 degree. So it's a good day to be talking about it because Venus is what's called combust. It's all the way on the other side of the sun. So it'd be like the Earth is here, the sun is here, and Venus is over here, right? It's on the other side of the sun, called combust. So in many ways, what happens when planets are combust is that the energy of the planet passes through the rays of the sun. So Venus being on the other side of the sun, again, if like Venus is here and it's pushing its energy toward us, let me use this little thing. We'll use this little scrunchie as Venus here because it's pink, right? We have like, this is Venus, and then the sun is here, and then you're here on Earth, right? So let's say that my thumb is the sun and this finger is Earth. So Venus is going through the rays of the sun and then getting to the Earth. So as Venus is pushing its energy to us now, it's going through the sun and the sun is purifying it. This is what happens when the planet is combust. And then we feel it. So when planets are combust like this, they're actually very invigorated to give what they want to give because the sun invigorates things. But again, it also purifies them and takes them out of the sort of mundane, sensual realm. At least that's the possibility. The possibility is that even though the sun empowers it, it empowers it on a very soul spiritual level. Again, as a quality of purification, because that's what the sun is doing. The sun is always purifying everything, purifying and illuminating. So what we see right now is that this Sun, Venus, and Pisces is really purifying and illuminating our devotional state, that Pisces energy, again, which is that transcendent relationship of life on Earth. Pisces is where we leave this Earth, even this Earth of people and culture and history and all that stuff that we think is where our whole life is, living. Pisces is beyond that. It's like, okay, I'm a cosmic being. And again, you want to understand that you have an idea of what that means. Oh yeah, I'm a cosmic being. Yeah, I'm spiritual and I come from spirit. And we have a lot of beliefs about all that. And hardly none of it is grounded. None of it is actual, because most people don't live, in fact, no one lives the authentic experience of their real Piscean nature. It's some kind of imagination and emotion, and it's an emotional experience. Oh yeah, that's really not it. That's the emotion of it, but all the signs have an emotion with them. So the sun is there to really try to say, no, this is really what it is. And Venus is there trying to elevate your sensuality into that beauty so that you really experience the sublime beauty of it all, because that's actually what the truth is. It's not emotional, it's devotional. So elevating our relationships with people and with the world and with our quest for happiness and to try to possess a certain amount of happiness here on Earth, elevating that to something sublime is why Venus is exalted in Pisces. That's why. Because the real culmination of Pisces and Venus energy is that transcendent beauty. So we're not trying to possess it and manage it and organize it. This is why Venus is debilitated in Virgo. Aha, here's how this is what makes me happy. Okay, let me get that unique, perfect formula. If all of these things happen and all these details line up, then I'll enjoy it. So I always use the quote that my guru Amma says, which is, yes, we're here to be happy, but happy for no reason. Happy for no reason. And so the happy for no reason is very much the Venus in Pisces. Happy and experiencing beauty, but for no reason. Everything makes us happy. Everything, we find contentment and beauty in everything. Even things that are hard or difficult or stressful. We could still be happy, if you want to use that term. It's actually bliss. Bliss is a better term. Happy is more of an emotion. And again, I'm not down on emotions because we're all emotional, but bliss is not an emotion. It's a state of being, right? Just like love in its pure sense isn't an emotion. My guru Amma says love is a flow. Love is not an emotion, it's a flow, right? And we experience a kind of warm, close kind of emotion that we call love. But that's really not what is pure love, which is not an emotion. It's a flow of the heart that naturally happens when all of our desires and our attachments and our stress calms down. What's left is love. When all of our quest for happiness and the emotions and the attachments calm down, what's left is bliss. But bliss isn't conditional, just like the pure love isn't conditional. Bliss isn't conditioned on a person liking me or being nice to me or an experience that I enjoy. Bliss is transcendent. That's what transcendent means. It transcends the matrix of the ego, attachments, aversions, and all of that. So this is where we start and where we want to understand that Pisces state is that transcendent state, and Sun and Venus both there. The Sun wanting to, the Sun bringing that power to illuminate this area of life, and Venus elevating our desires to something that's transcendent into a blissful realm, is what happens when Sun and Venus join in Pisces. You have this combination of factors. So to talk about it for each of the 12 signs, I'll do that right now. So if you're an Aries person, this is happening in your 12th house. Venus is primarily the 7th house ruler, 2nd house as well, and the Sun is your 5th house ruler. So it shows where you can really be creative with your partner, especially or with other people, and particularly as it relates to, again, surrender, letting go, solitude, introspection, because that's the nature of the 12th house. And for you, Aries, Pisces is the 12th house. And so it's really a time even to also reflect on your interactions with people, elevate your relationships as well, and really notice how perhaps at times your self-motivated quality has led to a lot of losses where, this is why you might be more alone at times, because you can be quite aggressive, Aries. So again, Venus is exalted in your 12th house to show you that and to teach you to be more engaged with others and to introspect about how you at times may even take advantage of people and whatnot, even though you don't realize that's what you're doing. So again, it's definitely a planet of transformation. And the Sun there, as your 5th house ruler, also brings a lot of intelligence around that. So Sun in your 12th house is great for spiritual practices and really illuminating that part of your life. So Taurus, this is your 1st and 6th house ruler, your ruling planet, with the Sun, the 4th house ruler also. So 1st and 4th house ruler in the 11th. So this is really good for you, Taurus, for the public, for sharing what is important to you, what's meaningful to you, and being of service to those things. Venus also rules your 6th house. And also really sharing what's in your heart, because the Sun is your 4th house ruler, Taurus, and it shows how those deeply held convictions in your heart are really what, you have to bring that out. And until you can bring that out, from deep within your heart, your light doesn't shine as powerfully as you would like. You have to really find that source of truth deeply in your roots and then bring that out. So again, with Sun and Venus in the 11th house of Pisces, Taurus, it's very good for you to share with the public what really invigorates and illuminates your heart, and be of service to that, which is very natural for you because your 1st house ruler also rules the 6th house. Gemini, this is a good transit because Venus is your 5th house ruler, the planet of creativity, and it's in the 10th house. That's a powerful Raja Yoga. Exalted Venus is probably better for Gemini than maybe any other ascendant, just because it's, the 5th house ruler in the 10th house really brings that sense of, contribution into the world for you, Gemini. And the sun is also there really invigorating it, giving you a lot of passion as your 3rd house ruler to really share those things that you're interested in and to communicate effectively, which you like to do, Gemini. So this is a very positive transit for Gemini person, bringing your natural creativity into the public where you can share it and others can benefit, which you really like doing. And the sun really, again, invigorates that. It's also your 3rd house ruler, so you can really bring your interest into the public as well. For Cancer, this is your 4th and 11th house ruler, Venus, and your 2nd house ruler in the 9th house. So the 9th house is a very auspicious house of teaching, higher wisdom, gurus, things like that. And for you, Cancer, especially Venus as your 4th and 11th house ruler really brings your deeply held convictions and desires, 11th house, into the 9th house. Again, 9th house is about teaching, inspiration. So it would be a very inspiring time for you, Cancer, to have these 2 planets going through your 9th house. Good for your teachings, your higher wisdom, maybe you as a teacher, Cancer, and also, participating in wisdom traditions as well, and learning and sharing at this time. You'll feel very, very inspired by that. And Leo, this is happening in your 8th house. Now, of course, the sun is your ruling planet, so it's the sun going through your 8th house of change, transformation, learning how to be in control and let go of control and embrace that creative aspect of being vulnerable, allowing things to be out of control without feeling vulnerable, right? And Venus is your 10th house ruler, Leo. So you love taking responsibility and sharing and impacting others and bringing that natural love of people into the world. That's your highest desires, or I should say, a lot of your personal desires, the 3rd house, are seen when you show up big in the world. So for you, Leo, this is an excellent transit, especially if you do any kind of healing work, transformational work, where you do any sort of teaching or leading people in transformational spaces. The Sun Venus in the 8th house really lands you in that kind of situation, and you feel very good doing it. And Virgo, this is your 2nd and 9th house ruler in the 7th house. So again, the 7th house has a lot to do with our, not just romantic partners, but with other people in general. And it definitely shows where this transit has you really taking note of other people, your partners, your relationships. Also, because Venus is the indicator also of other people. And it's a very auspicious planet for you, Virgo, the 2nd and the 9th house ruler in the 7th house. Could be good for earning some money as well. Because it's a very strong wealth planet for you. And again, particularly if you do any kind of teaching or any kind of leadership or guidance, because Venus is your 9th lord. And it shows why, Virgo, you're a good teacher once you get over your shyness and things like that. And again, some of that shyness comes from the fact that the sun rules the 12th house. So you have a lot of these things coming together, Virgo. This is a good time for you to teach and to step up and get out of your kind of, oh, I'm shy, kind of, self-criticism, and share what inspires you. You're naturally very humble and very good with responsibility. So Sun Venus going through your 7th house is quite empowering in that way. For Libra, Venus, of course, is also your ruling planet. So it's your 1st and 8th lord in the 6th. And that's a natural, what's called Viparit Raja Yoga. And the sun is your 11th lord, right? So again, the 6th lord in the 8th lord in the 6th house, Libra, that part shows where this is a time of, a great time of service and being able to overcome some perhaps vulnerabilities and imagined fears and stresses by being of service, by doing some practical, methodical work right? And applying yourself to something that, you want to be in service to. So again, that could be teachings that you love. That could be even things like taking care of animals or pets or some kind of thing. And again, the sun really invigorates that. And the 11th house ruler is also related to service, which is what the sun is. So again, these planets in the 6th house is about effort. The 11th house ruler there for you, Libra, also brings a quality of service. Could be a little bit stressful, though. This could be one of the more stressful transits of all the ones in the zodiac, because Venus is your ruling planet. It's in a place that's in conjunct, even though Venus is exalted, but it exalts you through making you come down to earth and be practical and serve, but in this kind of Piscean way, right? So Scorpio, this could be a very positive transit for you. Venus rules your 7th house, and it's the indicator of relationships. And the sun rules your 10th house, and it's also the indicator of career. So you have these double karakas here. So again, and it's going through your 5th house of children, creativity. So, this could definitely really elevate your relationships, Scorpio, to something that's, quite sublime and quite, cosmic and metaphysical as well. Scorpio, you have that naturally devotional nature, very devoted and willing to, go through the hard work of transformation. And often when you're in some place of devotion or hard work and whatnot, your greatness emerges. But it's in those realms of desire, especially with other people. Venus energy can kind of get you, some of the darker qualities of desires and possessiveness. So again, with Venus exalted there in Pisces in your 5th house, it really elevates that sort of possessiveness into something, again, transcendent and blissful and devotional. And the sun also, the 10th house ruler, you always like to be responsible for things, really makes you, again, responsible for this spirituality and this change and transformation of, especially spiritually, because it's your 5th house of your creative intelligence. So again, a lot of alignment here for you, Scorpio. This is also one of the most auspicious transits for any of the zodiac signs because of this, right? Because it's the 5th house, which is very auspicious, and it really elevates those desires for you, Scorpio. Sagittarius, Venus is a difficult house ruler. It rules the 6th and the 11th houses, which is a planet of service, of hard work, of desire and stimulation. So Venus can also get you kind of turned around with your sense of purpose, Sagittarius, because you're very much about the bigger picture, about the bigger purpose, and Venus is like, no, forget the bigger purpose. Come enjoy some sex and some food, and brings you down. But the sun is your 9th lord, very powerful. It's where you really take your marching orders from. So having them in the 4th house, very deeply embedded in your heart, allow you to really, purify, the root system, and, of the tree. And so, again, this could be very powerful for you because you're ruled by Jupiter. So Pisces energy is also quite native to you. It's like the inner reflection of your heart, that Pisces energy. So really feel that inspiration in your heart, particularly with the 9th lord, the sun there, and notice how it illuminates and purifies your desires, and how, again, you can just get a little bit lost in all the desires. Again, elevate that into bliss, the bliss of the soul, and devotion to something higher. Capricorn, this is a tricky transit. Again, Venus is a very auspicious planet for you. It's your 5th and 10th house ruler and your Yoga Karaka planet. So it's a very creative planet for you, Capricorn. It's in the 3rd house, and it's exalted there, which means that it shows the need for you to elevate your desires, your personal desires, Capricorn. And this, the sun is the 8th house ruler. Again, it shows why you're very aware of your deeper vulnerabilities, your deeper, stresses and fears and concerns, Capricorn. You have to learn to manage those things. before you can make a lot of progress. So again, all of this is coming in the third house of desires, personal desires, interests. So again, it could really show, because Venus is the fifth house ruler exalted in the third, how some of the things that you really love, things that you love to study and things that you're interested in, maybe this is a time to really explore them a little bit, right? And really go into the depth with some of them and really find, a deeper level and a sort of cosmic level with some of those things that you really love and enjoy, but sometimes you don't pursue, right? So this is exalted in the third house where you're trying new things. And again, the sun is the eighth lord, which brings up a lot of, change and a desire to transform. And Venus is your auspicious fifth and 10th house ruler. Aquarius, this is happening in your second house, and Venus is your fourth and ninth house ruler. Very important planet for you. Also Aquarius, it's your ninth lord and your fourth lord, which shows that nothing is more precious to you, Aquarius, than to find teachers, teachings, inspirations that you find beautiful, bring them into the heart, have them really anchor your whole life on these uplifting teachings, these inspiring messages that make life beautiful and worth living. That's the nature of Venus for you. And the sun is your seventh house ruler, which it shows where you can tend to lose yourself in other people and their power. So, you're trying to really reclaim your sun. The sun is a kind of unintegrated part often with you, Aquarius. It's so far away from you. So again, having them very close in your second house with Venus also bringing all that beauty, it really can show how first of all, you're a great teacher, to really connect with yourself as a great teacher, to really, allow you to also be more realistic about other people and not just sort of careen through these big hopes and disappointments and things like that, which you might go through at times. And instead, again, really just show the appreciation and the beauty and the devotion that you have to teachers, teachings, and really claim your own power around these things as well, and find great value in that. Because again, the second house is values. And so again, the sun was just in your first house, Aquarius, so now it's in your second house of your higher values and value system, all right? So finally, Pisces, again, this is of course happening in your first house. This might be surprisingly a little strange because, to hear, but again, Venus is a difficult house ruler. It rules the third and the eighth houses. So just like it does for Sagittarius, it kind of gets Pisces a little bit sort of sideways. Pisces wants to kind of float around and just kind of let it all and surrender to it all. Venus is like, the heck with that surrendering. How about we have some fun? How about we enjoy life, right? Other people and sensuality. Yeah, I'm not swimming around anymore and floating around and surrendering. I'm experiencing this happiness. And it kind of pulls you down into this realm that's a little more confusing. And the sun is also the sixth house ruler, which shows how you need to be of service and be humbled and do the hard work of life here on earth. So again, but it's in your first house, so it's really illuminating these things. It's empowering you to see the true nature of yourself as a Pisces, which is the sun, really showing you, okay, it's not enough to just, oh yeah, I'm so, surrendered to it all. You're not surrendered to it all if it's just a lot of emotions, right? Detachment and silence is the point of surrender. Not just all the emotion, the up and down and the pain and the longing. And again, Venus being there can really plug you into the bliss of existence. But again, it's not the emotions of the elation of people. They make me so happy, and then the crash. Again, what Venus can do to Jupiterian type people, it's because Jupiterians are so big. They want everything to be big, and they're looking for the big purpose of the thing. So it's like, oh, there's this person, and it's the biggest thing. And then the other side of that is, no, it's not. It's a big disappointment. So then there's that emotion. So Venus can create a lot of illusion around this. So now's the time for you, Pisces, to really see through quite a bit of that illusion and that sort of processing, right? So this is how you would, tend to see this. And, there's some, just looking at a few comments here, and I did see the one, someone said, because Venus and Jupiter are natural enemies. Right, but you want to understand, Venus and Jupiter are natural enemies is just a phrase. There's a reason Venus and Jupiter are natural enemies. The reason Venus and Jupiter are natural enemies is because of the thing I just explained. It's because they rule difficult places from each other. So that's the part that's fundamental. The natural enemies part comes from the thing I'm explaining. The natural enemies wind up ruling difficult houses from each other. Okay, that's how we know they're natural enemies. Because they are, because they wind up being in this sort of inimical relationship. Like I just said with Venus to Sagittarius, the 6th and 11th houses are out of alignment with Jupiter. Or I'm sorry, with Sagittarius. Pisces, the 3rd and the 8th houses. Again, these are difficult houses. Okay, so that's why. So you don't want to put the rule ahead of the reason for the rule. And those rules, those phrases, and you were right, but these things wind up being, we have all of these things that are said in astrology. And it's good to understand, they're natural enemies. It is great to know that. And by the way, you also have to apply it, not just say it. You have to know why and how that comes into chart reading, which, by the way, I just showed it pretty quickly. This is how you do it. It's like, because what can typically happen is, okay, they're natural enemies, but it's Venus, it's exalted Venus, so so it's good. No, you have to read it all the way. The exalted is what I said. It does it because it elevates the desires, but exalted isn't even necessarily, quote, good. It can be very disruptive. How about having all of your desires disrupted right now? How does that feel? Do you like it? Usually not. It usually disrupts things. And exalted planets can tend to do that, particularly Venus, because Venus is also exalted in a place that is in conjunct with the signs that it rules. So it winds up being quite disruptive, the exalted Venus. So all of these things have to come into play. And so this is, it's behind all of these rules, there are structures in the zodiac, which, by the way, this is why I use this zodiac chart, because you have to get these places burned into your mind so that you can always remember where these placements exist. In the North Indian chart, those diamonds, they don't really do a very good job because it puts the houses in the same place, but that's secondary. What's most important is that the signs are in the same place so that you know how the zodiac is laid out. Houses are incidental. You just start the chart from here. That's the first house. You don't need the entire chart organized around the first houses here in the middle or at that top diamond or whatever. So that's why, because once you get this matrix of the way the zodiac signs are laid out burned into your mind, then you always remember these inconjunct places because they look that way, and you have this architecture built into your mind. So this is really how you want to understand this. So before I end here, I did also just want to say, for people who have maybe come late, if you didn't get the 2021 forecast yet, it's a free forecast. You can just go to that link, 2021 Vedic Astrology. Actually, 2021vedicastrology.com is the link. If you click it, it takes you there. And again, you can register. You can either watch the instant replay right now after you give your email, or you can pick a time to watch it. And again, it really goes through the most important shifts, the 10 most important shifts for this year. We're only here, right? We're right here now. And so we still got a lot left to go, and I talk about all of these things. The next one is social inspiration and hope, which is April 5th to September 14th, Jupiter in Aquarius. So again, this is why I said 2021 is going to be, it's going to start kind of intense, which I talked about the first time, all those planets in Capricorn I've been talking about for months. But then things start to really lighten up. We have Jupiter, again, he's going to leave this debilitated sign of Capricorn. And then we also have some great Mercury retrograde cycles and then an eclipse cycle that happens, again, from the end of April. From the end of April until the end, almost the end of July, Mercury retrograde winds up being in Taurus and Gemini. Again, winds up being over here where Mercury is really quite powerful. So it's going to be back and forth in these two signs for a couple months, and then we're going to have an eclipse, once the sun gets over here. So again, the next things that we have is also the Jupiter changing signs. We have exalted Venus, which I talked about here during this time. So again, you're encouraged to just go. It's free, and listen to that if you haven't done that yet. So again, I just wanted to give a quick update. I've been pretty busy with a recent conference that we did over the weekend. That was fantastic, and I meant to do this update, but I'm doing it now. And this Sun and Venus in Pisces is a great shift. It's a great way to elevate, to illuminate those Pisces areas of life, which is really some of the most, it's really the sign of devotion more than any other sign. It's really about devotion, about bhakti, more than any others. The water signs, for sure, but, Cancer as a water sign is really driven more by, having a person or an animal or something to really care for. Again, Scorpio, also very devotional, but it's also very much about managing vulnerabilities, and there's a lot of other things going on. But Pisces is really the sign where it's just about, pure devotion. Again, it's not just an emotional experience, but the emotions of Pisces and the feelings of Pisces are connected right to the devotion itself, right to the source, right to God. It's ruled by Jupiter, not ruled by the moon like Cancer, not ruled by Mars. It's ruled by Jupiter, which is like guru, teachings, inspiration, purpose, beyond the world. Again, even the moon, the moon is the indicator of love and feeling and nurturing. But it's also like the Divine Mother, and it has a lot of attachment. The moon is where we have a lot of attachments in this world. We want to take care of things in the world. In some ways, Jupiter does it. Jupiter's like, the world, yeah, but the real thing is beyond this world. So again, that can lead to a lot of bypassing and stuff, but it's also that sublime devotion where it's not even driven by a lot of emotions. It's not even driven by a lot of emotional, worldly experience. It's driven by the devotion, and we can feel that love so easily, the pure love, not the human love, not the desire love, not the, I love you because you made me happy and we're so happy. Now I hate you. Ugh, you won't do it. Or, just the extremes that happen when we get involved with people and how confusing we get, how confused it gets around that. I love this thing. I hate that thing. It's so draining. So again, Pisces, the sattvic, the pure love is transcendent and beyond that. And this quality of these planets in Pisces, especially, Sun and Venus, they're both very empowering, very empowered, are happening now and for the next few weeks. So anyway, just wanted to make that and share this with others if you like this. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Get notified of updates. Share this with others. Like it. Click a like and do those things that I don't remember to mention all the time. But it does really help. I should do that all the time and tell people to like it and all that so that it gets more views and whatnot. So if this was helpful, share and all of that. And I do, I do appreciate people's, participation today.